Well, Comrade Ismail Bello joins us now. He's a former secretary, NLC, Lagos chapter, and now the Deputy General Secretary of the Textile Union. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen.
Well, let's pick up from some of the issues the federal government raised there. First and foremost, they talk about labor not issuing the required, the mandatory 15 days notice before you proceed on strike. And then the consequence of that is they may just risk to be in jail for a while.
Yeah, well, if you check the history of strike in Nigeria in recent time, particularly with Kwame Adams and all of those, there has been all those kind of argument on the part of government that we didn't follow the normal industrial relations process of giving your employers 2 weeks ultimatum, 14 days, not even 15 days. But what we are dealing with is not the normal employer-employee relationship. What we are dealing with are issues of national significance, even though they may say, okay, why don't you follow the labor processes? But there has been ongoing discussions, ongoing conversation, formal and informal, between government and labor, between government and the people, over the issues at hand, which has, for me, has even exceeded 14, 15 days. If you look at the period that we've been discussing these issues of whether to increase or not to decrease the price of petrol, it's certainly far more than 14, 15 days.
Doesn't the law apply in this case?
Which law?
The 14 days notice before you
are we dealing with the routine, the regular industrial relation matter?
No law applies in this case.
I don't think, I'm not aware of any procedure for people to vent their anger over a policy that they were not consulted, over a policy that there was no dialogue.
I thought you just said it, that you had, if you look at the number of days you spent discussing whether or not to
increase that's far more than the required 14 days.
You said venting anger over a policy they were not consulted.
Suddenly,
you just said here that you had days, you spent days back and forth whether to increase or not to increase, and yet you say you were not consulted.
But Labour was not formally consulted about the increase, but there were all kinds of speculations and discussions in the public realm about whether to increase. Initially, there was price modulation. Later, it was deregulation. Later, it was price increase. There were all kinds of conversation. But it's not as if there was dialogue between labor and government.
So within that period of the price increase, price modulation, as you said, labor did not engage the federal government to say what exactly are you
formally, but they did informally.
The federal government did not engage labor
formally or informally.
But our position is clear. Labour has a position that government cannot increase the price of petrol.
Okay, so
Labour had a position. We protested the increase in the price of electricity. I mean, the change in electricity tariff. We protested. A civil society activist who is a lawyer went to court to stop government. The court passed judgment. The government never respected that judgment.
Yes.
But we are still engaging. We are still trying to see how we reverse that. And then suddenly, without consultation with all the stakeholders, government just increased the pump price of petrol. So they are waiting for 15 days when they already know the position of the critical stakeholders, including labor.
Well, the question I asked was, okay, government did not engage labor. Did labor make the move to engage government before this policy was announced?
But you, as a journalist, I'm sure you also follow our position at all occasions that on the issues of petrol price, it has a lot of implications.
That's your position, which you stated clearly in the public
sphere. Which government is also aware. So if there's going to be a change, it's only logical that government will be able to invite those who have very strong positions, strong views about price increases to some measure of dialogue.
I understand. You made your
But
position.
that did not happen.
Did labor make the move to say, government, we have said this publicly, but this is our formal presentation to you to say this is our position. Did labor do that?
Labor will not force itself on government. It takes two to dialogue. Now they did the act, now they want labor's dialogue. Whereas it's supposed to be the dialogue before the act. I think that's where the problem lies.
So what is labor asking now?
Our position is clear. Let's go back to 86,500 and then we can talk if there are issues.
So if government does not go back to 8650, there will be no dialogue whatsoever with labor.
That's our position. But you know, when you also want to dialogue, you also don't maintain a rigid position. That is the truth. But that's our position. But government can also call for dialogue and also estray his own position. And then we can begin to talk from there.
But government called for dialogue, and the NLC, which is your group, walked out on government.
The discussion broke down. So we're along the line. But it doesn't mean that we can also have another round of discussion or another round of dialogue. We've seen that happen severally in the process of dialogue. It's not cast in iron.
But
it takes two parties, it takes all the parties concerned to be able to have some consensus building, some compromise.
What is your group looking to discuss with government?
Well, I saw in channels last night and I had conversation with our people in top leadership of the NLC. The position of Labour is clear. NLC, under Commander Wabba, is looking at the situation where we discuss holistically the problem of fuel supply in Nigeria. Fuel supply, fuel pricing. And that cannot happen except we have a structured dialogue that will deal with all issues around it. You mentioned the issue of refineries. You're not going to say that in 1 week. You're not going to say that in 2 weeks. This is a matter that since 1999, as a country, we've not been able to resolve. You mentioned the issue of corruption. Yes, a lot of people have scored Buhari high on integrity. But it will be difficult to also score this government high on integrity. You can say yes for Mr. President. Nigerians are claiming, the world acclaims him as somebody who scores high on integrity. But that has not impacted on major institutions of government. The petroleum sector, for instance. We've not seen anything dramatic over the last 1 year. So it requires some kind of engagement. There is not just one-off engagement. It has to be structured engagement.
Can you explain the structured engagement the NLC wants from the government?
One, pricing is just an immediate issue, which can be sorted out. But we also believe that beyond the immediate issue, there's need to have a structured engagement that will deal with the issues of the entire petroleum sector. Whether it's going to be getting the refineries back to work, whether it's assisting refineries. We are optimistic that the one that is licensed to Dangote, from the report we get, will come on stream, but that may not be sufficient to meet the needs of the nation. What effort is government making to license more, to get more people?
What about those who've been licensed?
Maybe get one or two other committed people who told the part of Dangote, and then get the existing 4 refineries. If the government itself is also going to have new investment or going to have new partners, all of those have to be discussed in such a manner that we can be sure that over a period of time, maybe between now and the next 24, 36 months, Nigeria will get over this. But because it's the same issue since 1999.
I'm happy you're talking about optimism here when you made mention of Alhaji Aliko Dangote, because it is also the same NLC when the same Nigerian took over the refinery in Port Harcourt that kicked against it, but now we're seeing some form of optimism in doing his own thing, his own way, from a member of the NLC. Quite ironic, isn't it?
Yeah. The Dangote refinery is Dangote investment. The Port Harcourt refinery is government investment. And it's a question of privatization.
And it wasn't given free of charge at that time.
It wasn't given, but what's the value? Is it fair value? So there are many questions that even as a labor man may not be able to answer, but we can demand of government to do what is right.
What's the focus of labor? Because every time labor comes out or calls out strike action and you think it is for a particular thing, what comes out when you ask labor is that they put 2, 3, 4, 5 on the basket. And Nigerians are asking, shouldn't there be a focus? If you want to achieve just one thing, you pursue it, and if you don't have it, you should have an alternative that you sell into the government.
First, what is the focus of labor? First is
of the strike action by labor.
Of the strike action. The immediate issue is the issue of price increase. That's the immediate issue. But we also know there are other issues that are germane at the moment. The welfare of workers is very critical. Over the last 4 or 5 years, there has been inflation running into 2 digits. In recent time, we are moving from around 9, 10 that it has been over the last 3, 4 years. We are moving to 12, 13. And possibly we could go further with the decline in the forest, in the value of Naira, with the recent increase in price of petroleum products, other issues So inflation is moving at a faster rate. The last time we reviewed the minimum wage was in 2010, effectively 2011-2010 Act. It's over 5 years. 18,000 naira minimum wage, where would that take any worker? So there's already a lot of pressure from below for union leadership to say, look, the material condition of the Nigerian worker is very critical. And so when this is there, and government also comes with more harder policy decisions that will further make worse an already deteriorating condition for the Nigerian working people, it's only fair, it's only natural that people will react the way Labour reacts.
Comrade Jajero just said that they've got 16 critical sectors with them. Yeah. Your group don't have it. You don't have the electricity, you don't have the energy, you don't have the bank unions with you, and you cannot do a successful strike without those unions.
Well, I don't look at the issues at hand from the point of view of one group or the other group.
Isn't this a fact?
No, it's a fact, but what I'm saying is the issue at hand calls for labor unity, not labor division. So that's why it's not about you have 15, I have 22. The issue at hand is for labor unity and is for collective action.
If it was for labor unity, why didn't the president of the group you lead sit together with him and form a union?
I was not at the meeting. I don't know what caused the immediate the dispute, but we always believe that there's nothing that you can't talk over. There's nothing you cannot dialogue over. So if there are temporary disputes, that will not obliterate the issue at hand.
But did you hear what he said? When he said that Comrade Wabba said he will never sit with him, Joe Ajero, to discuss.
I don't think so. I was not there, so I don't have any cause to doubt it. And I know as a leader, he wants to work and achieve for the collective well-being of the Nigerian working people.